Some people would say if you can't find a visa sponsorship job, then you should sponsor yourself. That is, you should go through the self-sponsorship route. So many people will tell you if you move to another country, even if it's the US, Canada, UK, they said you should start a business, run a business. That is just one pathway you can use to sponsor yourself, especially if you are providing products and services in that country. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down the different steps involved in that self-sponsorship in the UK. I'm going to share with you the documents you need, the steps you need to follow, how much it costs, yes, and some of the questions that you'll be asked if you want to sponsor a specific role. You need to tailor your proposal in such a way that the Home Office will look at it and give you that sponsorship license. Now, I'm going to try my best to break down a couple of things I've seen online, in different forums and all that. I feel it's going to be of benefit to you. If you understand the basis and the foundation, you can use a lawyer to complete your application. At the same time, you might not even need a lawyer. Many people are doing it from the beginning till the end and they get it. So I feel you can do the same thing too if you understand every single step involved. If you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Cynthia. I share information that will help your transition abroad to be as smooth as possible. I share information about settling, working, or studying in the UK. If you are interested in any of these, please subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification bells. Like each time I drop a new video, you'll be amongst the first people to see that video. And without wasting time, let's get into this video. We all know that there is no such thing as a self-sponsorship visa. What we have is the skilled worker visa, in which you use to sponsor yourself. Now, what I mean is that you have that company, you run that company, and you're able to sponsor yourself through that company that you own as a director. Now, there are three key things you need to understand about this pathway. The first one is that you have to run a business that is in the UK, that is legal, offering genuine products or services in the UK. Now, the second one is that it has to be plugged into HR system where you can, pay your workers or employees. And the last one is that you offer genuine jobs that meet the visa sponsorship rules. The visa sponsorship rules, from the occupation code to the minimum salary threshold. You're giving a COS that is genuine. These are some of the things you need to understand. Now, let's run through the different steps involved with this. The first thing is that you have to pick a license type. Most people choose the skilled worker visa because, it gives you enough time, instead of that temporary visa like the seasonal worker visa and other types of visa we have. Next thing is you have to appoint key personnel. You can appoint an authorizing officer, key contact, level 1 user. Now, after that stage, you have to prepare all the documents you need. The first thing you need to have is the company registration with Companies House. It's so easy to do. I did that for a couple of the companies I run. So just do it, complete it. I know that the cost has increased of recent. I think it's 150 if you want that registration to be completed at least the next day or something like that. Just go and check it out. It's so easy and straightforward to do. You select your SIC code there, which means the type of business you run. It's so easy to do. I don't need to talk about that. Then you need your employer liability insurance. You get that sorted out. You have your bank statement. That is for your business, not your personal name. Not your personal name. Your organization or your company needs to have a bank account. So you prepare that. The next thing you need is your proof of premises. Where do you run your business? It has to have an office, an address. And another thing you need is you need to do that HMRC registration to get your payee and VAT. Now, when you do your HMRC registration, they're going to give you your UTR reference number. That's your unique taxpayer reference number. And you should have access to a payee. Very important, because it is through that system that you can pay your employees or pay yourself if you are going to be an employee as well as an employer. So that is it. Now that you have all these documents ready, you can submit an application for sponsorship license. Now, sponsorship license is going up from £574 to £611 for small organization. Most people also get an accountant that would help them with their accounting returns. It's so important that you get that. And you need to, very important, you need to go on Google and register your business with an address, hook it up with something, so that it can be searched and found, something like that. Then you have to prepare your proposal, something you're going to submit to the Home Office to say that, hey, I'm interested in getting a sponsorship license. That means that you have to be careful when selecting an eligible occupation. Now, there are 4 lists. I've told you guys there are 4 lists. There's the temporary shortage list, immigration salary list, the skilled worker visa list, and the eligible healthcare and teaching occupation. So you have to choose an occupation that is there. Now, you can't say that you are someone who runs a cleaning business and you want to sponsor yourself as a cleaner. Maybe it would work many years ago, but not now, because cleaning job is not on the sponsorship list. But you can say you have a cleaning company that is trying to sponsor a project manager or something, I don't know. But the most important thing you have to understand is that whatever job title you choose, occupation you choose, you have to show its relevance to that company. And whatever you select has to meet other requirements, meaning that you have to be ready that you're going to pay. Yeah? You're going to pay that project manager the required or minimum salary threshold on the skilled worker visa list. If you're saying you are sponsoring a business analyst, apart from showing that it aligns with the organizational needs or the things that the organization provides, they would ask you for a chart, they will ask you for so many things. You still have to show that you are ready to pay that business analyst, data analyst, project manager, whatever it is, business development manager, whatever the occupation is, you are willing to pay the person slightly above or at least the minimum salary threshold as stipulated on the government website. So if they're saying £50,000, then it means your business is going to generate enough revenue to pay everybody and pay that sponsored job that amount. So how you structure it matters. And remember that the government wants to introduce a law from 8th of April, which says that you need to meet salary compliance. Salary compliance means that every month they'll be checking. It's not like, oh, they'll look at your COS and know that you have met the minimum salary threshold as the government stipulated. No, it's that they will check the payment system on HMRC. They'll be checking pay slips, checking the payment system on HMRC to make sure that it meets that amount that you said you're going to pay that project manager, business analyst, data analyst, business development manager meets what is required. So that is why I'm saying you need to be careful, know how you calculate all these things, know how much revenue your company can generate, and meet the compliance requirements as expected by the Home Office. So that's it. Someone can say, can you sponsor someone on a care visa? Yes, you can, because care worker 6135 is on the sponsorship list for immigration salary list. And it means that you have to, align it when you're creating that business. Make sure you do your payments. You have to pay an accountant to support you. You have to pay for so many things. So put all these things in consideration when you are preparing your application. Some people receive rejections the first time, the second time, and some people get it the third time. It's okay. You can always try your best to see what you can do with what you have. Now, I'm going to share some of the questions they might ask you for additional information when you submit your application. Sometimes they ask you for additional information and they require you to send those documents or whatever they ask you for in 5 days. They give you a deadline, so you need to submit that as fast as possible. You take time off work if you need to and prepare all of that and send it to them. I will look at this. It says, thank you for your application to become a licensed sponsor under the skilled worker route immigration routes. And it says here that please send the following documents or information to us. Can you provide right to work for your employees? So this is something you need to prepare. Another question they might ask is what type of care worker or project management responsibilities does your organization currently undertake? So you might have to provide that. Can you provide an in-depth organizational chart listing all employees? Can you explain how recruiting a project manager or whatever will assist your business? Please specify their day-to-day role and duties that they will conduct, including a breakdown of activities every day. You need to provide that. Can you explain specifically what benefits a project manager or care worker will provide your business? So they're asking you, can you explain specifically what benefits a care worker will provide your business? Can you explain what previous experience the candidate has which would be applicable for this role and enhance the current business? Next one is, can you explain what skills, experiences, and educational qualifications would the potential candidate require, and what other previous employment or business experiences would an applicant require to carry out this role for your business, and how will these skills allow the person to support your business? Can you provide any evidence or copies of any job advertisements, including those that have to do with the project manager, business development manager, data analyst, care worker role? So these are the type of questions you'll be asked. So you have to write a detailed document. If you sit down, carefully think about it, the structure of your business, your organizational chart, you'll be able to explain the functions, the responsibilities of that role, how important that role is to your organization, and the fact that they are willing to pay the person up to the minimum salary threshold. So these are the things you would prepare, and then you submit your application. Once your sponsorship license has been approved, that is a fantastic step. It is good and it is sweet. You'll be so happy. You apply for COS. I know that it's not easy to get that one too. You need to say how many undefined COS you need and all that. Once you prepare that, you can sponsor yourself. When you generate that COS, you apply for a visa, you pay your IHS fees, you pay your visa fees. If you have dependents, do everything that has to be done. Once your visa is approved, then you continue running your business and trying to meet all the expectation that the government wants. Now, like I told you, that the rules are about to change from the 8th of April. It means that you have to meet the salary compliance that as an organization. Even if you are on a skilled worker visa, you need to talk to your employer. Most employers right now are increasing the salaries of most skilled worker visa holders. You know that if you lose these migrants, it's going to disrupt your business. So many employers are doing that. It is really good. I can see that the Home Office has put some things in place to wake people up, to say, hey, you have to do what is right. Stop paying people peanuts. Stop giving them less hours. At the same time, you have to be careful. If you notice that your employer has not been paying you up to the expectation, that's 37.5 hours a week, immediately switch, get another job. Be in the job market. Don't just end it there, because the Home Office would contact your sponsor, that's your employer, and ask them, why aren't you paying these people up to expected? And salary compliance is one of the reasons why many organizations lose their sponsorship license. Once the sponsorship license has been revoked, guess what? guess what, guys? The next thing you hear is they are sending somebody curtailment letter. You have 60 days to leave the UK. I don't want that to happen to you. So I'm telling you that this is what is happening. I'm happy that they are increasing the salaries of many people, but at the same time, I know that it's so important that you pay attention to what the government has shared, so that you will not be one of those people who would lose their, right to stay in the UK. So I always tell every migrant, please do not take your feet out of the job market. Be always searching for sponsorship license, because you can never tell. Never. Just go for interviews so that you have a feel of what the job market looks like. Just submit applications. Go for anything. Some people can disappoint you. Many employers that have promised people that, oh, don't worry, when it's close to the time your visa would end, I will give you another COS. So many employers are disappointing migrants. So I'm saying, please do not take your foot out of that job market. Go and test the waters, find out what is happening. I hope you benefited a lot from this video. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.